The crawl. The crawl, scientifically known as Vita Carnis, is a fascinating organism from the Vita Carnis family that has fundamentally changed how we understand biological adaptation. This unique creature consists of red, meaty tendrils that closely resemble small intestines, growing in patterns similar to mold or fungi across various environments. What makes the crawl truly remarkable is its incredible versatility. The organism feeds by absorbing water and organic matter through specialized organelles at the tips of its tendrils, primarily drawing nutrients from surrounding soil and dirt. But it doesn't stop there. The crawl also performs its own form of photosynthesis, using the darker pigmentation in its smaller branches to convert sunlight into energy. The crawl plays a crucial ecological role, consuming waste from animals and plants, while its decaying branches create nutrient-rich soil that benefits nearby vegetation. Carnivorous animals can even feed on the meaty tendrils, creating a unique symbiotic relationship with nature. Sometimes nodes of meat grow on the branches and fall off to become independent organisms called trimmings. Humans have found practical uses for the crawl as well, processing it into valuable fertilizer for agriculture. While technically edible, its unappetizing appearance and taste keep it off most dinner tables. Trimmings. Trimmings, scientifically known as Vita Carnis, are small, meaty creatures that originate from the crawl. These turtle-like organisms are about the size of a basketball and resemble skinned raccoons with their blood-red coloring and fleshy appearance. Each trimming is unique, with different leg counts, spikes, and sizes, though they're sometimes mistaken for juvenile mimics due to their similar body shape. These creatures are remarkably passive and docile. When threatened, they'll either hide, flee, or let out their characteristic screech. Trimmings are highly emotional, chattering their mouths when happy and screaming when distressed. They're nocturnal animals that can be quite noisy at night. What's fascinating about trimmings is their apparent hive-mind connection. Research has shown that when one trimming learns something, other trimmings in nearby colonies somehow acquire the same knowledge without direct exposure to the learning experience. Trimmings begin life as meat nodes growing on the crawl. Once they fall off, they become opportunistic eaters, consuming anything edible including fruits, vegetables, meat, and even rotting matter. Despite their short 4-year lifespan and vulnerability to predators, their population remains stable thanks to constant reproduction from the crawl. While considered nuisances by some due to their screeching and trash-digging behavior, many people have successfully domesticated trimmings as low-maintenance pets. Meat snake. The meat snake, or Mortuary carnis, is a 5-meter-long serpentine creature that's part of the Vita Carnis family. Unlike regular snakes, these organisms are entirely composed of red meat tissue and possess one remarkable trait. They only consume dead animals, never living ones. What makes meat snakes truly unique is their ability to swap skulls. When they eat different corpses, they can replace their current skull with that of their meal, meaning a meat snake might have the skull of a deer, dog, or any other animal it's consumed. The deeper red their flesh becomes, the more they've eaten over their lifetime. These creatures start as small nodes from the crawl, but grow through constant consumption of rotting meat. They locate prey through a specialized tongue that detects decaying flesh particles. When eating, they release chemicals that break down soft tissues while preserving bones, which they later excrete along with hair and nails. Meat snakes are the only members of their family capable of reproduction through mitosis, essentially cloning themselves when they reach sufficient size. During World War II, they were actually deployed in battlefields to clean up corpses in no man's land. Today, humans use them beneficially in butcher shops, zoos, and cleanup operations since they pose no threat to living beings and efficiently dispose of rotting organic matter. The mimic. The mimic, known scientifically as Trucidatum carnis, is the first hostile member of the Vita Carnis family. These bipedal creatures are essentially skinless humanoids with exaggerated features, longer arms, sunken dark eyes, flat noses, and a mouth full of teeth arranged in what appears to be a permanent smile. Mimics go through 3 distinct life stages. They start as small creatures resembling their trimming relatives, hunting smaller prey before targeting humans exclusively upon reaching maturity. What makes them particularly dangerous is their ability to contort their bodies to hide in furniture like sofas and wardrobes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Mature mimics that have consistent access to human prey develop more human-like features, allowing them to blend into society. However, they can still be identified by their unnatural walk. They move on their toes rather than flat-footed like humans, creating a distinctive gait. The most terrifying stage is the elder mimic. With an overabundance of food, they develop a tough, dark shell and lose their human-like appearance. Their face becomes pale pink with a bony beak replacing their teeth. This adaptation makes them nearly invisible in dark spaces and incredibly durable against weapons. These creatures are methodical hunters, studying their victims' routines before attacking when they're most vulnerable, usually during sleep. Harvester. The harvester, scientifically known as Congregentur carnis, is a massive plant-like predator that represents one of the most dangerous members of the Vita Carnis family. This bulbous creature stands about 3 meters tall and 2 meters wide, anchored in place by an extensive network of underground tendrils that can stretch up to 150 meters in all directions. What makes the harvester so deadly is its sophisticated hunting system. It uses 2 types of tendrils. The first are thick, flat appendages equipped with bear trap-like spines that inject 2 different venoms. One side delivers a neurotoxin that causes instant paralysis, while the other injects an anticoagulant that prevents blood from clotting. The violent thrashing of these spines creates multiple wounds, causing victims to bleed to death. The second type of tendril is designed for absorption, sensing blood and moving toward wounded prey to drain it completely. Once the victim dies, these tendrils drag the body underground, where the flesh dissolves and gets digested. The harvester displays remarkable intelligence for a plant, carefully selecting only large targets like bears, wolves, or humans, because smaller animals wouldn't provide enough energy to justify the attack. This calculated behavior makes it an incredibly efficient predator that can slowly relocate if needed, making woodland areas particularly dangerous for anyone who ventures too close. Host of influence. The host of influence, scientifically known as Imperium carnis, is perhaps one of the most insidious predators in the Vita Carnis family. This semi-humanoid creature has a head, torso, and arms, but lacks legs entirely. Instead, its lower body consists of fibrous tissue and tendrils that burrow deep into the ground, anchoring it in place. What makes the host truly terrifying is its method of hunting. From pores on its back, it releases airborne spores that can travel vast distances on the wind. When these microscopic particles are inhaled, they make their way to the victim's brain and begin a slow but inevitable takeover. The infection process is gradual and methodical. Within hours, victims experience restlessness, sluggish movement, and loss of coordination. As symptoms progress to dizziness, migraines, and impaired speech, the infected person loses control of their own actions. After 6 to 7 hours, they stop whatever they're doing and begin walking directly toward the host that infected them. Upon reaching their destination, victims kneel down and expose their vital organs, allowing the host to gut and consume them. The creature's name comes from this twisted invitation, like a host inviting guests to dinner, except the guests become the meal. If treatment is received within 36 hours, the effects can be reversed, but few realize they're infected until it's too late. Monolith. The monolith, known scientifically as Coelum carnis, represents one of the most mysterious and terrifying entities in the Vita Carnis family. These massive structures stand 120 meters tall, about the height of a 40-story building, and are composed entirely of tightly woven meat fiber. Each one has thick trunk-like legs, hundreds of rope-like appendages instead of arms, and a triangular head with a circular hole through the center. 7 monoliths were discovered in 1972 on an island in Hudson Bay, Canada, arranged in a perfect circle around another entity called the Singularity. What makes them particularly ominous is their underground root network that connects all 7 together, making them impossible to remove with current technology. For decades, these creatures have remained completely motionless and silent, like enormous organic statues. However, there was one documented incident when they became active and began walking toward civilization. During this event, they demonstrated devastating capabilities. Their appendages could whip and strike with incredible force. They could emit electromagnetic pulses from their mouth holes that disabled vehicles, and they showed remarkable regenerative abilities, regrowing damaged flesh within seconds. The monoliths only returned to their dormant state after military intervention with rockets. Since then, they've remained stationary on their island, but their potential for destruction makes them one of humanity's greatest concerns. The Singularity. The Singularity, known scientifically as Verum carnis, represents the most mysterious and powerful entity in the Vita Carnis family. These are dark, glass-like spheres about 3 feet in diameter that hover in the air through unknown forces. Each one contains a luminous core and emits various energy signatures that disrupt electronics around them. What makes the Singularities truly remarkable is their intelligence and communication abilities. They constantly transmit and receive radio frequencies that human technology cannot decrypt, creating a network that connects all members of the Carnis family. This communication system uses Trimmings, who are drawn to radio static, and the crawl, which grows toward radio towers, essentially turning the entire Carnis ecosystem into one massive intelligence network. 7 Singularities exist worldwide, each with distinct personalities. Some are curious and engaging, others are detached or rarely communicate at all. They can speak through electronic devices like radios and televisions, and they become agitated when disturbed. Perhaps most significantly, Singularities can convert dead flesh into crawl, suggesting they may be the original source of all Vita Carnis life on Earth. A mysterious cult has attempted to gather all 7 together for some kind of ritual sacrifice, though their exact purpose remains unknown. Despite their incredible power over other Carnis species, the Singularities themselves appear defenseless, relying on their creations for protection.